Hey friends, I'm going to try and make this quick because chapter 24 is fairly long and I want to give us plenty of time to read. Just as a recap, chapter 23, Amir was primarily in the hospital the entire time recovering from his injuries. We learned that he had several broken ribs, a punctured lung, a ruptured spleen, and several other problems, broken orbital bone, and he was split completely right in the middle of his lip, which left him a scar that resembled Hassan's very much. So, from here, Amir knows that he cannot stay in the hospital much longer because the Taliban will be looking for him for the injuries that Sarab caused to Asef. So he has to get to a different location. Even though the doctor says he isn't healed enough, Amir kind of defies his orders and leaves Pakistan and is going to Islamabad. When he gets to Islamabad, he gets a note from Rahim Khan, and in this note, Rahim Khan says not to contact him, and we learn later in the chapter that the reason he didn't want him to contact him is because the orphanage that he said he would be able to send Sarab to doesn't actually exist. He had set Amir up to take Sarab and eventually adopt Sarab and take him to America, where Rahim Khan knew he would be safe. That basically is all that we got out of chapter 23. Now, in chapter 24, this is going to deal a lot with the emotional effects of the trauma that Sarab has endured. I asked you last class to answer a question about if you think Sarab is going to be able to recover from his trauma. Remember, he saw both of his parents get murdered. He then was sent to an orphanage, was then kidnapped by the Taliban, and then was raped repeatedly by Asef. In this chapter, we will see that he is a very fragile young boy. He does not know if he's going to be able to survive what has been done to him. He has a lot of guilt and shame for what happened to him, specifically the rape that happened to him, and he feels as though he is dirty now because of it. And even though Amir tries to assure him, that was not your fault, he feels guilt for that, and he feels guilt for the harm that he caused to Asef, even though it did save him and saved Amir. He also doesn't really trust anyone. And even though Amir is really trying to kind of take him under his wing, he's really resistant to the idea that anybody's going to be able to protect him and that he's going to be able to live a normal life. It is mentioned that he may have to return to an Afghani orphanage, and this idea is exceptionally distressing to Sarab. Just as a content and trigger warning, there will be mentions of suicidal thoughts and suicide in this chapter, and if that's something that you need to have a conversation with me about or to process, I'm here for you. We'll get through this together. This is, I think, the last really tough chapter in a book full of tough chapters. There is hope by the end of this novel. I will tell you that much. That really is just about it. So we will be really delving into Sarab's mindset in this chapter, and it will be hard because so many horrible things have happened to him so far. That's really a bit about it. This week, remember, I'm giving you a no red ink for extra credit. If your grade has been suffering, do this extra credit. It is going to be the best way to raise your grade right now. We only have one more chapter in this book. We will then take one day to review, and then we will take a test over the Kite Runner. So, we're nearing the end of this unit. I'm here to help you should you need it. Let's go ahead and get into chapter 24.